Hi everybody, welcome back to Majestic Collectibles. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. It's nice to take a couple of days off from listing and so on and so forth. Of course, there's a punishment. I get to double list today to keep my average up, so I list so many a day, usually at least 20 items a day. That's okay. It's all prepped. It's ready to go. I've got the picks and scans. I just have to do it. It's cold and chilly here. It's what? Let's see, November 27th, 2023. About 29 degrees out, light breeze, so it feels like 15, about a half inch of snow on the ground. So I guess Christmas really is coming after all. Big thing I wanted to talk about today is kind of an eBay update. Way back, I don't know, probably close to 3 months ago anyway, one of my podcasts where you just had to listen to me and not look at me, so you only suffered once. I talked about what to do during downtime, spruce up the old eBay store and do a lot of technical things and stuff like that. And I did that, but I didn't do everything I needed to do, and it made a big difference. So I wanted to tell you guys about that. The biggest thing was, and this is about 3 weeks now, so this is going back, I believe it was, November 5th or 6th. So right after the Iowa Comic Book Club Minicon in Johnston. So let's see, that was a Saturday, so it must have been about the 7th, Tuesday after, I think, 7th of November. And so 20 days ago, so right at 3 weeks. And this is important because it kind of shows you, or will show you exactly, the difference that this made. So the first thing I did, and I should have done this earlier, but I didn't. So with the postage changes, when they got rid of first class, they went to Ground Advantage. I didn't update my eBay store shipping policies, and so I went in there and thought, well, I really need to do this, especially with the holiday, hopefully holiday sales coming up. And so I looked at it, and I had 17 different shipping policies on my eBay store. That's terrible. I mean, that's don't do that. And a lot of it was when they had changed over. So a lot of this got caught in the wash a little bit, but I really needed to update it and be prepared to update it sooner. So don't make the mistake I did. And what I did is I narrowed it down. So now I have all my items for shipping policies. I've got a media mail policy, which is basically DVDs, few old antique books, but mainly DVDs on that. I have the eBay standard envelope, which is some coins, some postcards. Again, not a lot of my inventory, more oddball stuff. Then I have the Ground Advantage and Priority shipping, which is the vast majority, probably 90% of my listings fall under that particular shipping policy. And those were kind of a pain. So I spent most of a day. I spent right at 5 hours doing everything I'm going to talk to you about. So it did take some time, but I think you'll find out it was really worth it. So to do the shipping policies, I had a lot of hangers on, older inventory. And I can tell you right now, it's inventory that was not showing up in searches because of the shipping policy. And in order to get rid of a shipping policy, you have to clear out all the listings under that policy. And that took me a while. Most of them were very small. I had one had like 11 listings on it. I think another one had 40. But you add those up over multiple policies, and it added up to almost 50% of my inventory. So I figure about 50% of my inventory probably was not showing up in searches. So just because of this shipping policy. And that's totally my fault. As much as I like to blame eBay for everything that's wrong in the world, extinction of the dinosaurs or whatever, I can't really blame them for this. This one's on me. So that took me a couple hours to get all straight, and I went through everything with a fine-tooth comb. Now it's pretty easy because you go into bulk listings, so if you bring up an old shipping policy, it'll have the number in parentheses behind there. You click on it, bring up all the listings, and you can move those to another shipping policy. It's not bad. The tough part was making sure they were in the right ones. Making sure media mail wasn't on the magazines or action figures, or the first class was the biggest offender at a few hundred, because they still said first class shipping. And for a little while that was okay. If you remember, they kind of combined, ground advantage, first class, but now it's just ground advantage. So you'll definitely want to update that if you haven't. The other thing I did is I redid my shipping rules. Now my shipping rules are for combined shipping, and I've got shipping rules for action figures, magazines, and comics. You can do them for pretty much anything. I combine ship basically everything that can be combined, unless it's super fragile or super big or something like that. DVDs, I'd have to look. I think I've run free ship on some of them, if not all of them. So I really don't have a combined shipping rule there. But between these two things, I got to tell you, it made a big difference. And rejiggering the shipping rules was probably the toughest part, I think, of the whole thing. It took me quite a while to get that figured out and kind of get the weights and sizes established and know how to do that accurately. Because if you want to combine shipping, you got to be careful, because as much as shipping costs, if you come up short, it's going to cost you money, and if you don't do it right the other way, it's not going to really be that big a deal, because it's going to charge them too much. So it took just a little bit of tweaking, but once you get it set, it's pretty simple to deal with, to be honest with you on that. And that really made a difference. Now I'm going to click. I don't know how to do this dual screen thing, so I doubt you'll see this, but maybe you will. I'll keep yabbering on either way. So in the last 3 weeks, I'm just going to give you some raw numbers here. Listing impressions up 90.4%. I don't put a lot of stock in listing impressions, but to go up and almost double in 3 weeks, pretty significant, just because at least my listings are showing up now. So I know they're showing up in search, okay? So at least I've got a chance of people clicking on them. My click-through rate hasn't changed much. It's pretty much stayed the same, so that's a little disappointing. You would hope with all the extra, impressions and page views, you would get a few more. But maybe that'll go up. We'll just keep trying it. The listing page views are up 62%. That to me is more important than the listing impressions. It means somebody's actually, clicked on your stuff. Sales conversion rate is up, not a lot, 0.2% or 0.002, yeah. Which isn't huge, but it's 1.4% overall, which is, it's okay. I'd like that a little higher, and it has been higher, but, it's going the right direction. I think part of the other thing with my shipping rules that I set up on this, one thing I noticed is that I'm getting more combined orders. So my shipping rules must be pretty accurate. So in other words, if people aren't buying one comic or two comics, or whatever it is, action figures, magazines, they're buying multiple, they're combining them together, and that's resulted in more inventory sales. I'm just selling more. And I think the other thing I did with all this shipping, so when I did the rules, I also passed on the eBay discount. You get 22% discount for USPS, ground advantage, something like that. And I decided, I hadn't done this before, but I did pass it on to the customer, and I do think that's made me more competitive. There have been some instances where I have lost a little bit on shipping. It's not that big a deal if you've got higher end items, but if you're selling $10 and under items and you're $1 off, well, that's 10%, right? You're losing 10% plus all the eBay fees and time and everything else. So, judge that wisely on that. But it has made a difference. So let me say, well, of course I say that. So here's eBay being eBay. So yesterday I had $597 in sales, which honestly is not good this time of year. That should be 2 to 3 times that minimum over this weekend. And today, which is Cyber Monday, so far I've got $16.35. I don't know what to tell you there. So something's still messed up and not working right. My last 31 days, the sales have gone up 42%. Now, they were really dismal before this, so that's still not, I would say this number is still probably only maybe 45 to 50% of what it should be or typically is this time of year. So that's how bad my numbers were, as I was running, roughly, 75, 80% below what I should have for sales. And now it's, with the 42% increase, I'm about 50% below what I should be in sales. So, it's trending the right way, I guess. But it is a little frustrating. It's one of those things. I'm just looking at the numbers here, scrolling through them. They're still not good. So overall, they're just not what they used to be. I still think it's got something to do with the Google marriage and stuff like that. eBay's, whatever it is with these item specifics, I don't think it always works. And the whole pay to win thing, there's definitely, I think, a lot of race to the bottom stuff going on with a slow economy. A lot of people are paying that 12-14% promoting listings fee. I do not do that. I do use promoted listings, but I cap it at 10%. I just don't like the idea of this whole floating price point with them, because the only thing that's designed for is to pad eBay's bottom line. And if you looked at their fourth quarter report, or you saw their reports, the most recent ones, 30-some million bucks, and that was pretty much all directly attributed to promoting listings fees, right? So big incentive basically to use us as ATMs to float their boat. So that doesn't thrill me, but it is pay to win. So it's up to you whether you want to use it. My comic books and action figures are pretty crowded. Most of the collectibles categories are trading cards, stuff like that. Just huge numbers of listings on there. So I think I'm in the position I do have to promote just to get my items seen. Now, having said that, overall, these trends, I think long term, they keep going. I don't think it's going to double again. I don't think I'm going to have 42% increase month to month to month to month. It's going to top out somewhere, but you know what? It can't hurt me any. I think it's going to be a real positive thing. I do wish I had thought of it. It was always in the back of my mind with the shipping changes. I just didn't realize how bad it was, how far out of date it was on the shipping policies and shipping rules. So it's something that's only going to help me going forward. I don't think it's been a great problem solver, but I do think it brought me to the point now where the slow sales that I'm seeing, I can attribute a lot more of those to the economy in general. eBay still has some issues. I'm not letting them off the hook, but a lot of the issues, a good chunk of them were mine, and just because I had things set up were out of date and needed to be updated, and I didn't do it when I should have. So I have to take the blame there, but I think it's looking good, guys. I really do. If you haven't done it, just spruce it up. It's not hard. If you go search online, just Google search, it'll give you a step-by-step, give you usually a link right to where you need to go on eBay, and it'll give you a step-by-step on how to do it. But it's kind of up to you what you want to do for your shipping rules and shipping policies. That's something you just have to figure out on your own a little bit. But definitely the combined shipping and the discount to give them the wholesale rate did seem to make a pretty sizable difference on that. Going into December, everything is down. So I've just, I'm not a big corporation, I'm just me, but I do like to track the numbers. And so kind of end of October, well, it'll be right after the mini-con, November 4th, I started looking at kind of year-to-date numbers. So, had what, 10 months out of the year completed. And everything's down across the board. The shows are way off. They're the worst. I think my shows are right at 65% down revenue right now for the year. I've only had maybe one good show, a couple meh shows, and the rest have not been good at all. Antique Mall was flying high, so my booth at the Brass Armadillo here in Des Moines was doing. It would have been my highest sales ever, is what I was on track for, and then Labor Day showed up. And my last check, I just did the accounting. I put it into Quicken and updated my accounting today, was $62. That's for a 2-week sales period. That's after rent and cost and everything. But holy smoke, $62. I didn't owe. I didn't have to pay, because if you don't make your rent, then they give you a bill and you got to pay that to pay your rent. But it's been pretty pitiful. I've not had a good pay period since Labor Day, and it looks like instead of having my best sales year ever at the Antique Mall, I will be lucky to equal last year's sales. In fact, right now, unless things pick up, I'm not going to get there. I'm going to be just short of last year's sales. On that, eBay sales right now, still down a lot of money there. Revenue is off there. The shows I probably, because I don't do a lot of shows, and they're not large shows, but probably probably off $8,000 in lost revenue at the shows, which is a bummer, but they're shows, they're up and down. The Antique Mall, I'm going to say break even on that, because I think it's going to be close enough where it's just going to wash out, maybe, off by $1,000, $1,200, but I think I'm going to get pretty close to last year's, so no big deal there. But was disappointing, because I was on track before that to have a really good year. And then eBay sales right now overall, we're looking probably, I'm going to say in the $40,000 to $50,000 range, less revenue year to date over 2022. So a really huge drop there, and I'm sure I'm not the only ones, because you're seeing a lot of just really disheartened people on a lot of the YouTube videos, seeing a lot of people quit, just all sorts of stuff. And if they want us to be professional and make a living by selling on eBay, having revenue drops of that magnitude are not going to do it. I'll be fine. I don't really have to change a whole lot right now. But if I'm sitting here a year from now and those sales have dropped, if they're still dropping, next year is worse than this year, or I don't see some type of a rebound or stabilization or improvement in things, well, I'm going to have to rethink it. I just don't have a choice. But right now, I'm not anticipating any changes on that. But you're talking total, I'm down probably with everything, with all the different revenue streams, probably right at $60,000 less revenue this year than last year. And that's not profit, that's just gross sales, but obviously that affects the profit. And, it's a pretty good kick in the head, to be honest with you. So we'll see how it does. I've been through this before. I went through the junk wax trading card implosion in the 90s. Right after that, I went through the comic book implosion and Marvel's bankruptcy, 2 bankruptcies, almost back to back there for Marvel. That was a pretty sizable implosion. Then I went through the 07-08 implosion when nobody was buying anything. So it's something I've seen, before. The longest rebound, honestly, was probably the Great Recession. It was really about 4 years before I started seeing things really uptick and stabilize and get back to, I guess, the pre-Great Recession numbers. Hopefully, this is not going to be the case with the collectibles market now. Have seen a lot of softness in it, though, and this is across the board, all collectibles, all grades, including 9.8. AF-15s have actually kind of come down a little bit. Graded ones, raw ones, and if that stuff comes down, everything else below it comes down too. And that's what I'm seeing. I am seeing 100%, especially on lower grade common items. I would say Silver Age, Bronze Age, on up. So the last 60 years or so. That stuff, honestly, is just pretty much pagan right at pre-COVID numbers. If it was $5 pre-COVID and it ran up to 15 or 20 or higher during COVID, it's pretty much right back down to that $5 mark. So I'm seeing things not, the floor hasn't gone out from underneath it yet, and I'm not anticipating that, at least not with comics or magazines right now. Action figures seem to be okay, about the same. They've kind of come down to that pre-COVID level of stuff. Sales have slowed. The other thing I've noticed, even with this increase, this 3-week bump of fixing my eBay store, I will say my average price of items has really plummeted. I was probably running $13 to $15 average sales price, and I would say right now, boy, I'd have to do it. I forgot to run the numbers before this. I'd say my average sale price is probably about half that, maybe about $8. It's been tough to move. Here, shows, Antique Mall, doesn't matter. Anything that costs more than a $20 bill has really slowed. People aren't even looking at them. They're all hitting the dollar boxes, the $5 boxes, the discounted boxes. Everybody is looking basically for the cheap stuff right now. I just do not have very many people at all asking for keys. I don't have them looking at anything over $20, $25 items. Doesn't matter what it is. Comic books, model kits, cards. Just doesn't matter. So I think that's the economy talking there. Hopefully everybody will survive winter. I think most people will, and things will maybe look a little better for the spring when the weather warms up. We'll see what the economy does, and hopefully some of this silly war stuff will settle down. It is going to be an election year. Those are always, gotta tell you, those are always usually down years for me. No matter what I was selling when, going all the way back to really the mid 1980s when I started doing this. Election years were just too many things up in the air, too many unknowns, too many distracted people. So that I'm thinking next year could be hopefully stable. I'm not expecting any big growth. I just don't see that happening with election stuff coming up. And as contentious as the races have been, whether it be local or national or state level, doesn't really matter. So as long as that's still going on, I'm just hoping right now things kind of stabilize, the prices quit sliding, and people have at least a little more confidence that things are going to work out some way, shape, or form on it. I guess we'll find out there. I don't know. Obviously I'll keep doing the blogs and the podcast and my YouTube videos. I just want to end on one note. First of all, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. We're almost up to 400 subscribers on YouTube. I think I'm at 397 or 98. So obviously not a huge number, but I'm hoping to hit 400 by the end of the year. So, what's coming next. Click like, click subscribe. Check out our other videos and podcasts. Leave me your questions and comments and all that fun stuff. And I have one show coming up, middle of December. I rarely do a December show. I haven't done a December show, got to be well over 20 years. Might even be 30 years. I don't know. I don't do them because the weather is just too iffy. But this one's in my backyard. It's December 16th and 17th. That's QuadCon Des Moines. It's a special Christmas event. It's at Merle Hay Mall, free show. I'm not going to be in the same spot. That's why I wanted to mention this. Is usually I'm down on the south end by the Target anchor store, and I'm going to be the other direction. I'm going to be in the north end because Santa Claus and a craft show is going down where I usually set up. So if you come and see me, I will be there December 16th, 17th. Hopefully, I know it's going to be cold, but hopefully not too snowy and miserable and windy. The next show after that, I've got to get all the details. It's the end of, I believe, the end of February. And that's another Iowa Comic Book Club mini-con back at Stony Creek Inn in Johnston, Iowa. And that's another free show. It's a little smaller show, much more comic book or superhero oriented, a little old-fashioned, if you'll allow me that word. But it's a fun show. Stop on by. I don't know who the guest list is going to be for that one yet, but you can check that out in the Iowa Comic Book Club Facebook page. Should have some information up very, very soon. I would say, well, today's the 27th, so I would say by December 1st we should have something up, notice or event on that, so you can check that out. And that's all I've got for now. I'll keep updating it. We'll keep track of see if these store changes I made continue to make a difference. And until then, stay warm, stay safe, and we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.